Star Wars Episode VIII, The Empire Strikes Back. Hey everyone, my name is Winter Lava.
And I'm Spritz Bammy.
And welcome back to Episode 5, our 5th review in our series of Star Wars reviews leading up to The Last Jedi in December. Of course, if you enjoy these, leave a like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Let's get into this. So this time, George Lucas is not directing it. It is Irvin Kershner. George Lucas stayed away from it mostly, except for the producing and the writing. So, I think it's a good thing. The cast is pretty much the same as before, with 2 additions in Frank Oz voicing Yoda, which was great, and Billy D. Williams doing Lando. So the basic plot is the rebels are on Hoth. They've just defeated the Empire for a little bit. They've destroyed the Death Star, but the Empire is searching for them relentlessly. They found them on Hoth. They got to escape. A whole bunch of stuff happens, and Luke goes to Dagobah, training to become a Jedi with Yoda. Han and Leia and the rest of the gang go out to have their adventurous detours, and a whole lot of stuff happens. They get to Cloud City, Lando, Vader, and a whole lot of stuff goes down at the end.
So, I think the story was really good. I think the pacing was really good, much like the first movie. I do have a question. The Rebels didn't seem too broken up when they realized they had to evacuate this base on Hoth that they had just got set up. That was my impression anyway. Hey, we just got here. It's all finished. Oh, darn, the Empire's coming. Well, okay, we got to go now. But beyond that, I just thought the base should have been more important. I understood they had to go because the Empire was coming. At any rate, beyond that, the story was, again, I liked it. I liked it as much as the first one. So,
The only thing I had is the second act and third act. They seemed to blend really well and work together. But the first act, it was just pretty action heavy, and to me, it didn't really blend with the rest of the movie.
Well, I tend to disagree a little bit. I think the first section was one of the best action sequences in
It was well done, but I don't think
movie.
it went together with the rest of it. Because there wasn't a whole lot of context to it, I don't feel.
Well, you're right, and that's kind of why I said before, it didn't really seem like it was that big a deal when they learned, right? Oh, the Empire's coming. Then I forget the general's name. He just kind of goes, better start the evacuation. That was kind of what he said. Nevertheless, the action sequence made sense. It needed to be there because they had to get out. I think it was probably one of the most well-done action sequences I'd ever seen in any movie, let alone a sci-fi movie, too. I really liked Luke's plot line of going to Dagobah and training with Yoda. That was pretty good. And I really thought that the plot line with Han and Leia was kind of a supporting plot line, but again, it was the one that had action in it. So that's what kept us engaged while Luke was kind of doing his mystical stuff with Yoda. The only other issue I have with that is the timeline between the two. Whereas, training to be a Jedi master or a Kung Fu master, which is this is the kind of the sci-fi equivalent, you would think that would have taken at least weeks, if not months, to get to the point where Luke was. But the impression with the plot line with Han and Leia, took days. It felt like it took days. So it seems like there was a discrepancy in timing. One thing should have taken a long time. The other thing didn't feel like it took a long time. But again, overall, it made a good story. So I'm okay with it.
Well said.
Thank you.
Now, as always, John Williams does a fantastic score. Usually adds one new main score for every movie, and he does it really well here as always.
Yeah, I would have to agree. It's, not much to say here except good job, John, as usual. Good music. I really enjoyed it. Really fit the movie well and the movie moments well. So,
and this is well written between the director and another writer who I can't remember, and George Lucas. And it's done really well, and if you have good writing, it needs to be executed by good actors, and their performances were very good. Harrison Ford probably did the best job. He had the best writing, probably, but overall the writing was pretty great.
Yeah, I think Han's one-liners were great. He had even more of them in this movie than he did in Episode 4. And all of the other characters were written pretty well. This is an action movie and a sci-fi movie, so it's not like there's really deep writing going on, but everything was done really well. I like the interaction between 3PO and as well. I think 3PO was probably some of the best comic relief And he was more about what he said, not about what he did, which is kind of what Jar Jar was in the prequel movies, right? It's more about, that's kind of like physical comedy, but 3PO actually talked and said funny things, for sure. So yeah, I think a great job overall done on the writing.
And probably one of the things that anyone can catch is the special effects. If you think it might not be real, it is real. There's animatronics, there's puppets, there's all sorts of wire work. It's all pretty much real, which is one of the best things about this. It's all really well done. The animatronics top of the line for the time. Still pretty good.
Yeah, to me, this is probably one of the best examples of the gamut of just about every special effect that was available up to this time, short of computer graphics. There really were no computer graphics except for maybe some wireframe and monitors, and that doesn't really count as far as I'm concerned. This was the culmination, especially that first action sequence. It had everything in it. It had green screen ships flying around. It had stop motion animation, and then Yoda and his animatronics. The only weak thing was the creature, the Wampa. Yeah. In the first scene, that was kind of weak, but that
wasn't an animatronic. That was a real
no, that was a person, and that was why the effect was kind of weak, because that was, although in that case you got to give him some slack, because that was the only time where a creature had to be in the camera field with a person at the same time. So probably the hardest thing to do back then was a sophisticated creature effect while the actors are on screen at the same time. As well as, they kind of did the old quick camera thing when he cut his arm off, kind of like they did in the first one too, because I don't think the gore was quite as advanced in the late 70s as far as it was, as far as the other things were. But overall, again, I think one of the greatest examples of the largest combination of special effects to ever be combined in one movie.
And what brings this movie to have the most enjoyment is that it feels pretty real, like all this is natural and happening, and because of that, it elevates your enjoyment and just how good the movie is in general.
Yeah, I agree. Once again, much like the first movie, I thought this was a very well realized science fiction environment. I mean, it felt real all the way, because everything is gritty. And it's not slick or anything like that. Like Star Trek is great. Don't get me wrong, I love Star Trek. But it doesn't have quite the same gravitas as the Star Wars universe, just because it was like, yeah, this is like the way I think our world is going to look into the future when things are being built. It's not sort of going to be all slick and stuff. It's going to be dirty droids, little things sticking out, all that kind of stuff. I'm not so sure everything's going to be so smooth as other sci-fi movies have made it out to be. And this thing had a great first action sequence and then two interwoven plot lines that kept it moving and made the whole thing really enjoyable. Yeah. It's like a nice firework.
The culmination of it being a really good movie and my enjoyment, I'm going to give Star Wars Episode V, The Empire Strikes Back, an A-.
Well, for the first time, we're in agreement again. I really like this movie too. I think some people did. Back when it came out, I remembered it not being as well liked as the first one. I think that's for two reasons.
The cliffhanger?
The first reason is the story ended with kind of a cliffhanger. There was no clear-cut victory and rah-rah moment like there was in the first one. The other thing is, though, too, is, gosh, trying to catch lightning in a bottle that Star Wars was twice, that's almost impossible to do. I mean, ask the Wachowski brothers with the Matrix trilogy. The first one was just an unbelievable breakthrough movie like Star Wars Episode IV. The second one, I think, was really good, but it really got panned by a lot of people, and I think it was just because it lost some of the shine. It wasn't that shiny new thing, so I don't think that should detract from this movie. I will admit that perhaps I've got a little nostalgia that goes into my review and rating for it, because I did watch it when I was a kid, but I also give it an A-, and I think it's well deserved.
So anyways, guys, once again, if you enjoyed this, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and the link to our Instagram will be linked in the description below. Once again, if you follow us, we'll follow you back. Remember to share this video with your friends and family. We will have the review for Return of the Jedi next month in October. We'll see you here in reviews next month. My name's Winter Lava.
And I'm Spritz Bammy.
And we hope you enjoyed, and always believe in yourselves. May the Force be with you always.
All right. Bye, guys.